The following lesson is linked to Learning Outcome 2, Reading and Viewing, and addresses the assessment standard that requires learners to demonstrate various reading and viewing strategies for comprehension and appreciation. Learners should be able to read or view according to purpose or task, summarize main and supporting ideas in point form, sentences and/or paragraphs, ask questions to make predictions and infer the meaning of unfamiliar words or images in familiar contexts by using knowledge of grammar, word attack skills, contextual clues, sound, color, design, placement, and by using the senses. Learners should also be able to reread, review, and revise to promote understanding.
He was going far too fast
Well, if you've got the car, then surely you should be able to use it.
and put people's lives in danger.
Okay, maybe you shouldn't have been going so fast on such a busy stretch of highway. But still, cars today are made to go to like 240 kilometers an hour. So what's the point of making a car so fast if we can never drive them so fast?
Hey guys, what are you talking about?
Well, there was this really annoying guy sitting on our tail on our way here. He was so close, if he'd opened the back of the taxi, he would have driven right in. He was so on our bumper.
So what did the taxi driver do?
Nothing. And after a K or two, the guy got so annoyed he pulled past us and raced off. He must have been doing at least 150 on the highway.
I think we should have an Autobahn, like in Germany, where at least we can drive our cars the way they've been built to be driven.
Well, I hope he got caught. The drivers in Joburg have always seemed to be a bit nuts on the road. This new crackdown on speeders is great. People who break the rules of the roads must be punished.
Funny you guys should be talking about this, because I found a great article for us to work with today. No wait, you can work that out, can't you? But before we begin, let's get some of the formalities out of the way. Hi there, I'm Becky, and this is our last episode in our series on Reading Our World. Today we're going to use those comprehension skills you've developed over the past couple of episodes to get to grips with another written text. So, by the end of this lesson, you should be able to ask questions to make predictions, infer the meaning of unfamiliar words in familiar contexts by using knowledge of grammar, word attack skills, and contextual clues, reread, review, and revise to promote understanding, and summarize main and supporting ideas in point form. Now let's get on to that article I was telling you about. This article comes from the Sunday Times and it is written by Dennis Hans. It is entitled, By the Way. Let's start by seeing if you can predict what the article is about. Read the first paragraph and share your ideas with a partner. When I quit Johannesburg for Durban nearly 4 years ago, I was delighted to be turning my back on the death-defying daily duel on the city's M1 freeway. So guys, any predictions?
I think the article is about how much better it is to live in Durban, because he says he was very delighted to turn his back on Joburg.
Well, sort of. I also think it's going to be about traveling on freeways, because he mentions the M1. He obviously didn't like traveling on that freeway when he lived in Johannesburg. Maybe he also had a bumper-bashing racing car driver on his bumper.
Ha ha. Anyway, I know what a duel is. You often see it in the old cowboy movies. But what does he mean, a death-defying duel?
Isn't a duel when two people stand back-to-back with their guns and then take 20 paces and then shoot?
Oh, yes. And the one that draws first wins. So a duel on a highway must be when two cars compete with each other.
If they are defying death, they're challenging death. So, it's like they're taking their lives into their own hands while they compete on the freeway.
See, I told you it was about my bumper-bashing driver.
Okay. I think you need some more information. Let's look at the next two paragraphs and see whether that helps you to predict what the article is about. Read through it carefully. And again, share your ideas with a partner. Johannesburg motorists, like their legion of Rottweilers, are naturally snarling and uncompromising. So I look forward to what I expected would be a more leisurely pace of life at the coast, populated, so I thought, by relaxed and cheerful individuals. Johannesburg motorists are compared to legions of Rottweilers. Anyone know what a Rottweiler is and what the word legion means?
My neighbor has Rottweilers. They're really big and very vicious looking dogs.
And a legion is like a big army. So he seems to be suggesting that Johannesburg motorists are like a pack of dogs, snarling and never giving up.
That's right. He also says that life at the coast would be populated by so-called relaxed, cheerful individuals. What can you infer from this sentence?
He used the word so-called, which means that it is generally said that Durban drivers are relaxed and cheerful. But those words can also mean that he's no longer sure about what he's saying. He's inferring that Durban drivers are not actually relaxed.
Now read carefully through the next paragraph. Can you work out what he means by this sentence? I prepared myself painstakingly for my introduction to Durban's equivalent of the M1, the M4. Which words do you not know in this sentence?
I'm not so sure about the word equivalent.
And what word in the word equivalent do you recognize from elsewhere?
It sounds a lot like the word equal.
And that means?
When two things are equal, it's either they match each other or there's some kind of the same.
Exactly. And what two other things does the author mention?
The M1 and the M4. Okay, so he's saying the M4 in Durban is the same kind of highway as the M1 in Johannesburg. But he's already told us how terrible it is, with all the dueling that people do and all that.
Great. There are many ways to infer the meaning of words or phrases you don't know. Ken has just used word attack skills. This means examining the word to see if there's anything you recognize in it. The English language has developed over such a long period of time that many words are related to others you may already know. It's also valuable to look at contextual clues. When we looked at billboards, we examined things like color and line. When we infer meaning in written texts, we start by looking at the context it is in, the words around it. This may provide us with clues. And finally, we can use our knowledge of grammar. Whether a word is a noun, a verb, an adverb, or so forth, will also help us to work out what it means.
I'm struggling with the word painstakingly, but I know it's an adverb because it gives me more information about how he prepared himself.
I think it means carefully because he's about to be introduced to Durban's M4. He made it sound like quite an important event.
Let's see if you're right by reading the next paragraph. Again, read carefully and then share your ideas with a partner. Also, take careful note of the bolded words. See if you can infer their meaning. I forsook my Johannesburg shirt and tie in favor of a t-shirt, tilted my car seat a casual few degrees backwards, lest I betrayed my inland origins, wound down my window to take in the refreshing fish-flavored air, assumed my most easygoing expression and, more than a little ashamed of my GP number plate, gently accelerated towards Paradise Road. But purgatory lay in wait just around the bend.
Yes, I was right. This whole paragraph is about how he prepared himself for his drive. That means painstakingly does mean carefully or thoroughly. He definitely seemed to have everything under control.
Now, let's have a look at the bolded words. The first one is forsook. So what do you think it means?
Well, the word forsook is a verb, and the sentence is telling us about how he put on his t-shirt rather than shirt and tie. But it could also mean to give up. So you could change the sentence to, I gave up my Johannesburg shirt and tie.
That's right. The word forsook means to abandon or give up. Well done, guys. And the word lest?
Let me have another try. This sentence is about how he tilts his car seat back. He does this because he wants to look more casual and he's scared that people will know he's from Johannesburg. So I think lest means for fear of.
Great. And the word refreshing?
Well, fresh means to make new, clean, or cool again. And the RE is a prefix, which when added to a word means again. So I assume that refreshing means to make new, or clean, or cool again. He's describing the air coming in through the window, so I think it must be cool.
Now let's look at the last sentence. It says, but purgatory lay in wait just around the bend. The word purgatory means a place of temporary suffering. This word is very cleverly used. Can you tell why? Share your ideas with a friend. Have you worked it out? The word purgatory is cleverly used because it pokes fun at the fact that when the writer got to Paradise Road, it definitely wasn't paradise. Instead, it was purgatory or a place of suffering. We can now predict with absolute certainty that the rest of the article is going to relate to how Durban's drivers and roads are just as bad as Joburg's. Another useful skill when reading to comprehend is summarizing. Summarizing means to shorten. When you summarize, you only make note of the most important facts. There are many different ways of doing this. The rest of this article provides information about the ways in which different groups of people behave on the road. Let's see what the writer has to say about lower class drivers. Read the following extract and then select the words you think describe these drivers. At the lower levels, where people feel inferior and frustrated, driving habits are determined by an up-yours attitude, demonstrated by the spiky-haired young man who bore down on me from the rear in a rusting Ford Escort XR3 and muscled me aside on the M4 North as he raced cockily towards the turnoff to Phoenix. Okay guys, help me here. Which words describe lower-class drivers?
Well, the writer says that if you're of lower class, you feel inferior and frustrated.
They have an up-yours attitude, and they are cocky.
Could it be that the cars they drive are rusty and unsafe?
And quite pushy too. After all, he did muscle the writer aside. He sounds just like the guy on the highway this morning.
Great. Now we have a clear idea of how the writer has described a lower-class driver. Writing a summary often helps one to understand what the writer really means. Here is a visual summary of what we have just read. Well guys, that is all we have time for. We've had a lot of fun in this series and we hope you have too. Until next time, here is a task to keep you practicing how to read your world. Summarize the following two extracts from the article. Each one describes a different group of people and how they behave on the road. Perhaps if you're feeling really creative, you could draw your own picture of each one using the information you get from the extract. At the other end of the social spectrum, we have the wealthy in the intimidatingly equipped 4x4s, haughtily seated a meter closer to God than the common herd. Their financial superiority awards them not only the right of way, but also the right, and the means, of course, to disobey whatever restrictions have been imposed by insufferable bureaucrats. One might assume that these pillars of society have achieved their position in life because of their superior intellect, entrepreneurial skill, work ethic, moral values, and commitment to upholding the law. However, their porcine road manners merely lay bare that most pitiable of human conditions, riches without refinement. Which brings us to what, in the mists of time, was known as the fairer sex. Since quitting the kitchen for the boardroom, their once bare feet, now shod in Gucci boots, these thoroughly modern millies are not yet at the front of the M4 grid, but pumped up with gender-equalizing testosterone, they are getting there fast. I sometimes wonder if some of them now shave parts of the body they never used to. Well, guys, that brings us to the end on our series on reading our world. We hope that you guys have enjoyed the ride, but from us here in studio, bye.
Bye.